Yeah.
Okay, does anyone have any exciting stories? Has anything fun happened in anybody's life recently? You know, is there any anecdotes? Is there any travel woes? Is there anything enjoyable in anybody's life at the moment?
Well, when you phrase it like that, I feel really awkward saying no. But no, there's nothing exciting going on these days.
Nothing enjoyable or exciting in your life right now?
Well, you know, the family, I'm home. I got home last night, so I'm home for the first time in a month. So that's happy and exciting.
Okay.
That's all I got. I cooked an omelet for the baby this morning and hung out with the dogs. That's that's all I got.
So you're an animal. You're feeding your child other creatures, Jason.
Exactly.
You are inhumane.
Well,
obviously, no, you couldn't be inhumane.
Yeah.
Anyway, trying to start some outrage. YNk, are you feeling good?
Yeah, I'm feeling great. This was the loudest clap I did in a long time. And the reason for that is I can finally put the mic on a stand because I got the screw.
Oh my God. Actually, so you should be very excited.
So it's like a new era. I don't have to hold the mic in my hand for 2 hours anymore.
That's exciting.
Your life is back. You found you've been leveled out. There's a term I'm looking for right now, but you found your balance.
So
you found some zen.
Yeah, it's a massive quality of life improvement.
Good for you.
Well, we're taking a lot of little victories.
But I mean, I guess the only one who could have something happen was me because you two were working the RMR.
Yeah,
we went bowling and we played pool.
Yep, we did a lot of pool, a lot of bowling. Yeah. That's about it. That's all I got going on.
So excited about that and everything. you don't sound jaded at all.
Well, I don't know if I'm jaded. I just was sick the entire time, so it kind of sucked a bit because I had no energy, and I just was like a phlegmy ball the entire time, just looking at the world through, as opposed to like rose tinted glasses. I want you to imagine like goggles that like have boogers like smeared all on the inside, and you're kind of looking out, and that's what it looks like. It smells bad.
Smeared as well. You use like a bagel term for cream cheese. That's very visceral.
Yeah. You know when you wake up every day and you're like doing the big snorts and you get the big like phlegm balls and you're having to spit it out into the sink or the toilet or something like that, and it's just like green or yellow, like the mucus is like, and that was kind of my life for the better part of 10 days. So
I get that.
How you feeling now?
You're pretty miserable still.
Okay, great.
I get that, Chad, and that sucks. But what I don't understand is why did you, you're feeling like that and everything. Why did you have to go and spit in SDY's mouth before their game?
Oh, poor SDY, man. Poor SDY.
He was playing in a mask. He was playing in a mask.
He had chickenpox, right?
I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure he had chickenpox.
That was the word around the street.
That you get vaccinated from or no?
No, you just...
Well, you can now, I believe.
Yeah, I think there is one now.
You can now, Jason.
Well, when I was a kid, it was just like you got chickenpox and then you got better and then you're good for life. You're set. You're done.
Ah,
like
okay.
It's real, I get that. The itchy one.
I know which one you mean. Yeah. I got that actually late. I got that like first year of high school or maybe like late. Like when I was...
It's more dangerous if you're...
Yeah, that's 14, what I heard. That's what I thought. I heard it was like really actually quite dangerous the older you get it, to be honest.
How does it go in high school, Yanko? How do you do, like, do you still miss like a week of school?
Yeah. You miss everything. And it's also more like, you get those fucking, however you call them, the things on your face and body. So if you scratch it off, then
it sticks around.
It leaves a scar. So I fucked that on a couple of ones, but it's a little bit more heavy, I guess, because what people do around here is you almost kind of, if your friend's kid is having it, a 2-year-old or whatever, you take your kid over to their place to get him sick on purpose, right? Because it's the younger the child is, just get it over with. As Jason said, then you're set for life. So, but
it's not health advice, everybody. But
I don't know if you guys realize this. We are not doctors. We are not medically trained.
But
in any way,
but it's surprising that SDY didn't have it yet. And also, it's
I'm assuming it was chickenpox.
How did they even let him play then? Like, what if...
I don't know.
That's crazy.
That's why, did you see the admins behind him had masks and gloves on as well, and he wasn't fist bumping his teammates and stuff? So I don't know. I didn't ask any questions.
That's why I'm not sure. I'm not actually sure if it was chickenpox. That was just like the rumor around the studio.
This could be misinformation.
It could be a lot of misinformation.
It did look like chickenpox, but I don't know. It could have been anything. Maybe we could ask him. We could say, STY, what did you have? And he could go, that's a bit personal, guys. Why are you asking me those type of questions?
Yeah.
And that's probably what I would respond with.
Yep.
Now, guys, I wanted to play something for you, and I need you to tell me if you can hear it so that it makes sure it's getting picked up. Because I was playing Face It today with some of the boys, and I told the guys, I was like, oh, look, I got another podcast to at 5. And then Harry essentially recorded what I would call my intro to the podcast. I don't know if you guys wanted to hear it.
Yeah, I do, actually.
You're interested in hearing it? Okay. Let me see if hopefully this plays. 1 second.
Oh, the anticipation.
Oh, hey guys. Chad on another podcast here. Not much has changed since my last podcast yesterday. I guess the only thing worth mentioning really is big news, obviously, Sunday Young stepping away from Monty. Yeah, it's not that surprising because, he was performing very well. He made a real name for himself, and their team kind of looked a little bit dead in the water. It was kind of waning results, and I think, putting a bit of a distance between himself and their team is probably a good thing for his career. But other than that, mate, nothing's really changed from yesterday when I was last on the potty. So, yeah, mate, that's really all I got to say on the matter.
So that's what I was going to come here and say today. I don't know how you guys feel about that messaging.
I feel he sounded like Uber. Did he go to try and sound like Uber? Uber shouts?
He's just spending a lot of time with Australians. He's around like me, Justin, and Aaron all the time. So he's getting a good opportunity to practice his accent every day. And he's really been trying to fine-tune it. Now, I don't know if I sound like that. And if I do, I apologize to everybody who's been listening to me for the better part of the last decade. I feel you've all had to struggle through something. So, that was Harry's rendition. Okay, great. Well, Harry can play a multitude of different characters. He does a good Trace on a Ceranthus.
If you hadn't told me it's Harry, I wouldn't have guessed it.
Really?
I don't think so.
Damn, you've got to come. You got to come and hear some of Harry's accent sometime. He's always playing around, that kid. We tried to get him to do jingles for our show, and he never did the jingles. So,
of course not.
I didn't pay him. I did pay. I'm not going to name anybody right now, but I will just give you two an update. So we have someone who did some graphics for us once upon a time, and I messaged him again to make some other ones, and I'm a pretty trustworthy guy, which I think actually just translates to I'm a fucking idiot in English. But I messaged him and asked if he wanted to make some more for us, and he said he could. And then I asked him how much, and he said the same as last time. And then he said he'd have the images for me. So I said, oh, cool, I'll shoot you like this week. And I said, oh, cool, I'll shoot the money like a day later. So I shot him the money a day later. And now we're 25 days since, and he hasn't replied to my last 3 messages. So I think I'm 250 schmackaroos down the gurgler, gentlemen. I like I said, I'm not going to name or shame. I've given him, my last message, I said, hey, mate, this is the last time I'm checking in on this. If not, I'd like to ask for my money back. Because the first time he said he wasn't feeling too well, but it's been 25 days. So I don't know. I feel we're on a bit of a ride right now.
Knowing who it is, I feel like it's a trustworthy thing that's gonna become.
Well, that's what I thought.
Yeah. But I don't have a good explanation for any of this. I just feel like it's gonna come.
Maybe he's still sick.
25 days. Yeah, maybe. Maybe he's busy. He's got some other work too. He just.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But just a message of, hey guys, sorry, it's all, so we'll wait and see what happens there.
Sure.
Hopefully we can have some new graphics at some point.
I don't know, Chad. It's a shitty situation, but what I can say is this to this person: if you're looking for more money, I can tell you won't get it. Chad doesn't
straight for the shakedown technique.
Chad doesn't have it. I don't have it. But what I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills I have acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you. And if you give Chad his money back, that will be the end of it.
Or just the graphics,
or just the graphics.
One or the other, really.
We like the graphics. Yeah. I lost to Forrest today in a pug, and I'm really sad about it.
I bet Harry's even sadder about it because Harry takes great pride in the fact that he banged out Forrest in Seattle. And
it wasn't just Forrest; it was Freiburg as well. And we played Forrest, in the last couple of months on Face It, and we'd beaten him. And then today we were going in, and Aaron's been having PC issues. He just keeps crashing like all the time. Like I'm talking like 5 to 10 times a game.
Whoa.
And it's really quite frustrating, if I'm going to be honest.
That's very frustrating.
Yeah, we had some crash situations, and we only won 2 rounds on the T side of on Anubis.
Oh no!
And then we managed to bring it back to 13-11 because we have Justin Kyle Savage. I don't know if you guys know about him, but he's pretty good. And so we brought it all the way back. Free agent now. Brought it all the way back to 13-11, and I think Harry was in like a 1-on-1 to take us to overtime or something. And
he choked.
Yeah, but I guess it technically was a 1-on-2. And yeah, like it's just a bit disappointing to not win the game and to lose to some Swedes, because I just, I don't think I'm going to be able to look at myself in the mirror tonight.
Well, Freiburg's out there looking for another professional team. He's looking for someone who needs an experienced IGL or a coach. So you're competing against people who are, at the top of their game.
Took one of the biggest scalps today and faced it, so that's fair enough.
Sure.
I'm ranked 716 in Europe right now, so
I saw that. That's not bad.
Kind of a big deal.
Yeah,
kind of a big deal.
Climbing the ranks.
Yeah, really aiming for top 500. Just see if I can get myself some more ranking points and live for the ELO.
Right. So I'm not in a bad mood or anything. I'm actually in a great mood. Everything's going really well, more or less.
Okay.
But you mentioned Freiburg, right?
Yeah.
So he tweeted out,
King of Banana.
A lot of changes are happening now after the RMR. If your team is looking for an experienced IGL or coach, hit me up. So what?
Okay.
You want to do both?
Well, I guess he's taking either opportunity.
Whichever. Yeah, but you see, I would never get him as an IGL now anymore, right?
You just want him as a coach now?
No, but maybe, I don't know. But the thing is, when you write it like this, IGL or coach, it means you
feel he's not committed to either discipline.
Yeah, you just want a job, if either you just fucking face it, bro, and retire and say, hey, I'm hanging the mouse, switching to coaching, because this sounds like, you're just thinking, okay, I'm, if you think I'm not good enough anymore to play, I can coach your team. But, if you think I can play, it's like as if coaching is just, oh yeah, I'm not good enough to play anymore, so I'll just go and be a coach. It's not that easy, dude.
Maybe he's just seeing what options are out there.
I know.
Maybe he's just putting his feelers in the water. I know
about Freiburg, he's just seeing what's going to happen, exploring his options and all that stuff. But I guess this is more for other people out there, I don't know. This isn't giving me any confidence, that you're committed to being one or the other.
Would you have rated him as an IGL, as a prospect before this tweet?
No, but
to be picked up.
But I wouldn't have rated Snacks either. And he went to Gamer Legion, and they're the same.
Sure, yeah.
The rest is history.
There's no difference whatsoever to that team in the last 9 months, except now they failed to make the major. That's a big one for them. But yeah, I don't know. It's just when I saw that tweet, it's man, either you're still going hard on wanting to play and you want to IGL a team, right? You made that switch, which is a good one. And okay, grind it out. But with all the streaming and everything else, I don't know. It doesn't feel like that. It just feels hey, still trying to make a living out of this esports thing, which is great. Fucking full support for that. But then pick something. Either you want to be a player still, and okay, you're streaming on the side, or you want to be a full-time streamer, for example, Olaf is, or Get Right is, whatever. Or you actually want to move into coaching and work with teams still, but you can't be doing all three at the same time. That's kind of right.
Yeah,
I guess the streaming thing, and playing a lot, that's kind of okay as long as when you're playing, you're actually actively still playing to play, right? You're not just there to be an entertainer. And I also guess it depends, because there's some stuff that these guys are doing now with all the open qualifiers that we're having, and there's a bit more co-streaming, and around the majors, the IPs are available. So if you're watching the games a lot and you're actually paying attention, you can pick up on what's going on with the meta and stuff. So I guess there's ways that you can do, but I see what you're saying, right? If a top tier team wanted to pick somebody up to be either the figurehead in the coaching or the in-game leader role, you would want to know if that person is fully committed to exactly that role. But that's the thing. I'm not looking into it that deep. I'm just kind of going, oh yeah, Freiburg just wants to see what's out there, because I think for a team to pick Freiburg up as an in-game leader, I'm just going to bring it up right now and have a look and see if there's any teams which it would even make sense for him to go to within the top 30, right? I think that he would struggle to find a team within the top 30 or for someone to give him a bit of an opportunity unless one of these orgs, Fnatic or NIP, wanted to go back to full fucking Swedish. So, yeah, I get your point, Yanko, for sure, right? Like, I'm not going out there and saying, you know, I build houses and I also install toilets because, you know, well, I want someone who's a professional at one of the two disciplines, right? But I guess there's a bit more of an overlap with this. I've just compared two trades, being a bricklayer.
I don't know. I think it's spot on. I think it's you would think that there's more overlay, but
they're both in the building industry.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm probably just reading too much. I don't know. It was just maybe something that I don't know if the correct term is pet peeve of mine, or it maybe just triggered me a little bit.
Maybe you call it an ick. The kids are calling them icks.
Yeah, I think it was that. Freiburg's a great guy, so I don't know why I'm like actually taking shots at him. I'm kind of regretting it right now, but
no, you draw a very hard line on like the competitive angle. Like, you always have, and it's like, you know, if you're going to be like competitive at the top level, it is like very much like dedicate yourself to one craft or the other. But you know, I think it's a fair observation. I don't think Freiburg would think of it that way, but I think it's a very fair observation from the outside.
Why don't you call him out for a fight right now, Yanko?
1v1.
We'll do
I'll fucking fly out to Sweden for that fucker. I don't care.
There we go. See, now we're excited.
Get some
now
fucking sponsors on this.
Yes,
no, but yeah.
talking.
Well, I saw that. Who was it? I think Wally tweeted out like, "Oh yeah,
Wally with the
I'd like to see him in game lead NIP." It's like, fuck's sake, bro. Why don't you come back and lead NIP at that point? Like,
well, Wally could come and coach.
Could he? Maybe
I don't know, but it would be
like, but
it'd be.
I'd give him
fun.
like the academy team first, you know, just to sort of see how he does and what.
Give him a shot.
Both of them. Let Freiburg IGL it and let Wally coach it, and then see what you can do. I mean, I can understand. I mean, for NIP,
now we're cooking.
It is weird because it's like I don't mind them picking up Alex. I think it was a decent choice in a sense. Like, you want to take a gamble on someone. Like, I think that's a good gamble to take because, you know, Movistar tended to always do more with less.
They played some good team CS as well.
Yes, they played some good team CS as well. So, you know, but then you're really stuck with going international, right? It doesn't make sense to do another, you know, I even the ends thing doesn't really make sense, but it worked out in a weird way for them. It's been working out so far, but, you know, now that he's there, of course, Rez is still there forever, I guess. I guess he has some fucking dirt on NIP, dude. That he's like,
in 3 more years, it'll be a decade.
Oh, yeah, that's wild. I mean, I got so
when
much.
You think about it
this is the
crazy.
thing, man. I'm at home. I'm chilling. I'm not even working the RMRs, right? I'm watching some of the games. NIP is still sucking ass, right? Like, then they make the tweet about the changes. And they keep present. I'm like, fuck's sake, like, what is it going to take for this guy to just not be on the team? Like, at some point, it's also, you know, there was, I don't know how many different iterations of the NIP roster since Rez joined. Probably 20 or 20 plus.
It's been a lot. There has been a lot.
And he wasn't remarkable in pretty much any of them, you know? Like, he was better on some, worse on others. Role changes and whatnot, but and then, you know, I'm just tweeting, I'm just commenting on that, right? Then they have like fucking people attacking me like, oh, but why don't you give in some options? Like, who would you bring then? It's like, bro, I'm not the fucking, you know, like, it's not my job to do that. Or do I want to fucking think about and do research now to tell you like who they need to bring, who should bring? Like,
it's also too early, though, don't you think?
You know,
like, what's
it's like,
the point
just
of doing
fuck
it
off,
now
just,
when the majors?
Then the problem is, it's like, oh yeah, but you didn't say anything. It's like, if you can't understand that if this guy was any good by now, he would have had great performances even on bad rosters. And then people come out and tell me, oh, but he has 110 rating or 110 impact or whatever it is in the shit NIP roster. I'm like, really? Like, there's no point in replying to people like that who think like they're making an argument. They don't even know how much they don't know, right? Like, so for me, I think who was it? Then Babsky like replied with some whatever screenshot of stats or something like that, and was saying like, oh yeah, whatever, in the last 3 months, or in CS2 he's playing like this or playing like that. I just asked him, you think he can be a star rifler on a team that contends for championships? And then he just evaded the question and replied something like, oh yeah, but which players are available right now? It's like, that's besides the point for me. If NIP goes out and says, we want to win a major a year from now, or we want to contend for titles in 6 months or whatever. Okay, so you have the in-game leader, which you've settled on. You need to find the AWPer, and you need to also have that sort of star rifler who's going to play all those roles. So all the people are tweeting out saying, oh yeah, but Rez was playing out of position. He's in an anchor. Okay, so he needs to get the rotator and the star roles, right? And you're telling me you think Rez in those roles can be like a top 5 player in those roles on any team? That's all there is to it for me. I don't care who they can get or cannot get. Like, if you're stating that's your aim, supposedly you have a budget to bring players in. There's going to be even fucking SDY now is better than him. There you go.
Wait, before we deep dive down this, can I get? I fucked up. Yeah. Can I get a 1, 2, 3 clap really quick?
All right.
Oh no.
It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry. 1, 2, 3, clap.
Clap. What'd you do, Jason?
I accidentally hit the space bar and it paused the recording. So like I've been.
How long ago?
4 minutes, which is why I've been a little quiet, because I've been waiting for an opening to get that second clap in there.
Okay. So that's just going to be fucked when you have to edit the audio together.
Yeah, I've really fucked myself.
It's just extra work for Jason, so no one cares.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, well, that's great. I with what you're saying, Yanko, the bigger picture for me, and I feel this way about a lot of like teams who might be looking at roster changes at the moment, is what's the rush of like making definitive choices now, when the fallout of the major is going to determine a lot of what you can do. And if you tie yourself to any horses at the moment, even if you think it's a good horse, it's going to limit your opportunities when the fallout happens. And we're already seeing some of the fallout of the RMRs, right? The SDY situation is one of them. NIP, as we've just discussed, BetBoom no longer having Innershine as the coach, right? Like there's a lot of these little movements that are happening because teams didn't reach their goals with the RMR. But a lot of teams aren't going to reach their goals with the major. And we have a longer lead time into, and I understand when I'm saying this that teams need to field rosters for other events that they're signed up to, but wouldn't this be the perfect opportunity for when you are NIP and you have the young ninjas to like just be like, all right, boys, well, and if you want to, just go throw Rez over there and get him to fuck. Well, they're not even full Swedish anymore. They've got an Israeli and a South African playing in the team. So I take it all back. I guess you could throw them in. That's fine. They don't have to be full Swedish. It doesn't really matter. Just send them in. Let them play. Like I just don't understand the rush. What's the rush? You have a shit team now. You're not going to have a better team if you rush things. All the good players are on good rosters or decent rosters.
Well, it depends on the approach they want to take, right? Like I remember I talked to them in Katowice about this, and they brought up this whole before they did like the whole 2025 announcement thing, and it's just like you guys just need to figure out which way you want to go with it. Like either you spend the year building up young talent from like the academy squad and trying to find a diamond in the rough, or if you have the money and you have the funds and you have the will to do it, you go out and start making a splash, and you have to actually bring in some high profile people that you can like that are going to perform well. But I mean, it just depends on the strategy that NIP wants to take. And that's kind of the scary thing. Like if you splash for cash, we've seen a lot of these teams that bring in the big name players that aren't exactly that don't meet the expectations that you'd expect for the names that they bring in,
Yeah. I would just prefer if they would go back to the roots, like one of them, either NIP or Fnatic, and just try and build that Swedish Counter-Strike back up again. And you might tank for a couple years, right? But then when you actually do break through and you get your fan base back and you've done something with your countrymen, and it's just this.
Yeah, but who's the most valuable Swedish player right now? It'd be Brolin, right?
Knock.
Yeah.
Maybe you could get Knock. You're not getting Brolin back. He's happy in Mouse, and he's been through Fnatic and he's been through NIP.
They technically still have Brolin, so he's on loan.
Ooh, I wonder what that contract looks like.
I suppose they've agreed on a buyout before he goes, right? Because I'm assuming right now, I'm probably completely off, and if anyone of any merit is listening to this podcast anytime, you can tell me why I'm wrong. But I would make an assumption that when you do these type of loans, that something is agreed upon before that player gets loaned, in case they play like absolutely out of their skin. So NIP or whoever the org is can't just put like fucking $4 million on their head or something like that and bend you over a barrel, right? So there's a reasonable amount of money that's agreed upon beforehand, and if they do end up wanting to buy him, then they can just go to that amount of money that was predetermined. That's a broad assumption.
No, it's you're pretty spot on, especially for players that are not like just a temporary loan. You know, that's obvious. Like you just want to loan out the player for something, and right, like in the case for Brolin specifically, I would be very surprised if there weren't a set buyout price at any point of the loan, or maybe once the loan ends, that they could buy him.
Also, if you're Brolin and you're on the number 4 team in the world that just qualified for the major, and you go to the major and make the playoffs, and the NIP says, actually, we're going to exercise this loan option and bring you right back to like rebuild NIP. Like, you're not going to get the same fucking Brolin, right? Like, you'd be pissed if you were Brolin. You'd be what the fuck am I doing here? Yeah, you wouldn't even play well. Like, you'd just be like, fuck this shit.
I am not. Life is going great, right? But
here we go.
But
once again,
we're not like done with this whole NIP fucking thing. So
okay,
first, like,
I can't wait till we get to
this whole rest thing. It doesn't really matter all that much in the end. They might have just like, what's the point of cutting him if you don't even have a team anymore? Let's just keep him on the roster, you know, while we get some other players and see how things go. He might not even be in their plans for this next like roster that they have, you know. But it's like, I don't even care about that. Another thing is though, because we mentioned Brolin, because NIP now are trying to figure out how to get the fucking smell of shit off of them, you know, after the whole Jonas Gundersen debacle and everything that he's done to the roster over the last couple of years, right? So this is something that I guess it's not too uncommon in esports, where, you know, people are all about, now they think the way to go is all about transparency and just like talking to the fans as much as possible and creating, you know, content where they explain their process and all of that stuff, which I, to be honest, like disagree with. And like, I don't think anyone gives a fuck what you're doing, like behind the scenes in NIP. The only thing that people care about is like, are you going to feel a competitive roster, right? Are you going to get some fucking results? That's all. At the end of the day, that's all people care about, right? Like if you put together a good team and start having some good results and you play good CS, that's what you're going to hear being talked about your team, right? Like I'm not going to go there and do an NIP game where they're playing great CS and, you know, they beat someone and say, it's fucking NIP. it's just a fucking fluke, isn't it? Like they just ruined this other, you know, like, no, like I'll say, hey, this team is actually, you know, putting it together. They have good pieces. They're playing good CS. Maybe there's something there. Let's see a couple more games how they do, right? Like, that's all there is to it. Because what happens when you go full transparent, you do all this shit, right? Like, you have things like where they're discussing whether they should keep Brolan or Config. How is that even a discussion? Why would you? I don't even care about roles, man. I don't care. I just don't care. There's no way you can value Config more than Brolan as a player. Like,
I wonder if financially that was like an incentive, or not an incentive, but they were leaning that way one way or more so because of, I don't know, maybe they bought Config more recently, right?
I don't think so. I think more so what could be the thing is that just like Brolan was perhaps super jaded with that team and the organization. He was just like, he just wanted to leave. Like that'd be the one thing, because you can't tell me that you think Config has a higher ceiling than Brolan. I mean, even right now, Brolan is a better player. Config is still one of the most overrated players in Counter-Strike. Somehow, I don't know how. So then you hear stuff like that, you're like, man, like how am I supposed to have faith in these people? Like they're building this roster now, you know? Like maybe that's what some fan thinks or whoever. I don't really care all that much, but and you can see them like it's like posts on Reddit or whatever, and all these statements and stuff. It's like, come on, man. It's just like fucking. You're either going to do your job well or you won't, and the team is either you'll build a good team or you're going to build a bad team. And I guess in esports you can build 7 bad teams before you get fired, but maybe that tolerance is going down.
I think there's like two different topics there though, because I think While I would agree with you about the transparency angle as it comes to building a team, I think there's also an element where NIP management is trying to like rebuild the image of the organization, because I think they've realized there's like some legitimate damage done to the public perception of the organization. So they're trying to rebuild the team to be competitive, and they're trying to rebuild the org to have, a positive, public image to the scene, to the community.
I understand that, but I think that the problem is, if you're a professional organization and you want to compete in Counter-Strike, shouldn't your modus operandi is to be competitive in Counter-Strike?
Yeah, but then you have a situation, and this isn't to change the subject, but then you have a situation like Astralis where even if your team is, competitive, people still won't root for the team just because they hate the organization. Don't you think there's an element like that in esports right now? Is like some of these
management isn't going to win over fans.
No, but I think in their minds, I think it's more of we can get more fans if we repair the image on top of building a competitive team.
I think the only way to repair the image is the
just
same
to win.
thing with like all exactly. But that's I guess what the sentiment of Yanko was saying. He said you're either going to do your job well or you're not, right? And that was going to be reflected in the results and the way that the players talk about the org. Like, it doesn't help when the stuff happened with Calc being gone, and like there's players out there, Swedish players have been through the team who are saying, like a few years too late, and they're all like having a bit of a laugh about it and whatnot. I think that is the most damaging it could be. Obviously, we can sit here and we can critique the team's not doing well, and we can talk about some of the bad decisions, but when you have players actively on Twitter who are making snide remarks because they have been slighted by this man or the org or whatever over their time, the team, that speaks, that kind of just reinforces and then cements everything that's been said otherwise up until that point, So the thing is, when the damage is done like this, you're not going to buy fans back, like, unless you bring Forrest to the team, right? And you got Forrest out there going, guys, NIP's good again, like, we love NIP, right? Like 87-0, woo, let's go NIP, I'm fucking Forrest, man. Like, you're probably not going to just buy fans back with anything unless you start winning trophies again, or you go back to the roots and you build up Swedish Counter-Strike, and then because NIP's core fan base is Sweden, right? It always has been, even since the start of CSGO. They were the good guys and Fnatic were the bad guys, which is why I can see Fnatic probably not wanting to go back to being Swedish. They've never been the favorite of Sweden, even when they were the more dominant team. It was still NIP. So look, I don't have any issues with what they're trying. You got to try. You may as well give it a crack. I just don't think it's going to be very successful in terms of what they're hoping to garner. If the transparency, like, because Kassad's doing the whole transparency shit too, but look how far that's getting him. I just put a link in our Discord. Bleed playing against Mouse NXT in the Alyssa Invitational Spring 2024 contenders, and Bleed lost over 3 maps to an academy team. So it's not going to get any better out there for him. It's just Extreme and V2 right now for Kassad. Like, this is until after the major, where I guess he's going to try and make some power plays and try and spend a lot of money and bring in some new players. I guess right now it's just getting the brand out there in tournaments and seeing if any of these players have any growth.
Yeah, and at least even he has toned it down a little bit, I guess, which is...
You have to after a while.
No, but exactly. But I mean, it's like there's no really surprises there with any of that. It's like it was a big, it was a Hail Mary really, and it didn't work out. So now you have to sort of start new. You got to evaluate the players that you had, right? If who's worth keeping, who isn't, and you just go from there. But remember how much like talk there was about it, and how much shit talking and all of that stuff. Like, I don't think it's healthy for the players either. Like, that much attention. I mean, we can go all the way back to EG, and all the negative attention that roster got, not even due to the people who were directly involved, like with the, like not the coach or a little bit the coach, but not the players. The players did really nothing wrong. It was like management who was doing all that bullshit and making it making it way more difficult for them to play. So it's super simple, really. It's all about results. And I don't know, like, Chad, what you've been saying for the Swedish roster. I don't know how much Fnatic still like, are they still considered, because they're not a Swedish org, so I don't know if people still consider them.
Might not be worth it.
Like, yes, they have some legacy with those teams, but it's been so far back that I actually don't think they should try and do it. And I don't think they also don't have the money. I mean, you can tell, what's this last roster? QB and Mattis, Body, Afro Crims. I mean, it's very, very, low budget sort of a roster. Like and it's been for years now for Fnatic, like trying to do more with less, and it's getting more and more difficult, not even making the major this time around. So,
which is a shame when one of the core individuals of your company, Khan, literally his bread and butter, the way he ever got into esports was Counter-Strike and being known as, one of the great in-game leaders from the 1.6 era, right? Like, and that's like, obviously he does more at Fnatic now than just tend with Counter-Strike. There's League of Legends, there's Valorant, and they're much more successful in those games than they are in CS. But I think that kind of tells that Counter-Strike isn't a focus for them. And it just is a shame because they're the first team to win a CSGO major. They won 3 CSGO majors over the course of the 10 years.
One of the first dynasties.
They're a legacy name alongside of NIP, alongside of Astralis. Those 3 names not going to be in attendance at the first CS2 major. I think it's disheartening because I was good mates with like the Fnatic guys in the beginning, like Pronax, Devil Walker, Jetterby, Flusher. Like I got to hang out with them in the first couple of LANs or whatever. We boot camped together in Sweden for a bit. We were at the MSI Beat It tournament together. And I guess I have like positive memories of it because me and the Vox Eminor guys were in the front row cheering for them win the first major while the rest of the auditorium was all going for NIP because they were the favorites, right? So I always looked at Fnatic with kinder eyes than everybody else. Same as the Flusher situation with him being accused of cheating. It's fucking cook lead. Look, there's another, and just quickly, sorry, Twitter's popping off today with free agents. MBK's just put out like a little graphic, little image with some text all over. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically, he's renewed and big motivation to claw my way back to the biggest of stages. MBK's back, Freiburg's back. JKS is a free agent. SDY is looking for a new team. It's fucking all happening.
It's popping off. Let's roll back the years. Get all the boomers together. I was going to say, well, we're on the subject of like Swedish national team.
Just before you go into it, Jason, just real quick, this MBK thing. In regards to the Freiburg thing, that's how you do it. Like if you still are committed to playing, right, and like that's the sort of a statement that you need to put out there, right? Go ahead, Jason.
No, I was just going to say, isn't it Eyeballers, I guess, is the organization most in place to like try and build a Swedish roster, if we're talking like NIP and Fnatic, right?
Yeah, but they're going to lack the resources, right? Like why not? Why are we looking at a new entity? Like, because it's not like things are good at NIP. This is my whole point, is like things are fucked. So just do something that at least is going to make your fans happy. Use your money and your leverage and go around to all these orgs like Metasport, go around to Eyeballers, go around to this, go around to that, and try and get either the best that you can or get the best for the next generation and like actually go all in. Because they should have a lot of resources available to them, right? Or they should have the most resources available to them out of anybody that is even remotely Swedish. And then if they don't want to be Swedish, okay, fine. Keep trying to be just another average fucking international team like Fnatic, like OG. Like there's so many of them and they're just all fucking out of touch, man. And they have been for the better part of 3 to 4 years. Look at OG.
Well, I think
what has OG ever done?
I think they didn't. I mean, NIP would have sent the message, right? Like that they are going to stick international with Alex as the IGL.
Yeah.
Like, you don't keep him if you're planning on going Swedish. Man. Yeah. So I think
makes me fucking sad.
I think they're down that path.
NIP has also sold a big chunk of their stock or whatever to China, to a Chinese company, right? A while back. I think so.
Yeah, something like that.
I believe that's the case.
So, like I don't, right? Like, sure, in Counter-Strike, there's still the Swedish legacy and it would perhaps make sense for them despite that.
Rainbow Six, they're Brazilian.
Yeah. So
Valorant, I don't know what they are in Valorant. Maybe they're Brazilian as well.
So, all right. How much value does NBK have if we're going to ping pong a little bit back and forth?
If
he's put out this statement, is he worth? Is it like a top 20 team? Should you go for him? Like how
Where
much?
do we even start though, bro? Like who would pick him up?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
I'm not saying I don't.
That's why I felt I
Nathan
was surprised when they benched him in Mouse, because it seemed like he played okay. That was like right after Katowice, which he played well, I think, individually, and it made sense for them to have a veteran player, like exactly like he wrote in that statement, like a secondary caller, a guy who's going to help with his experience. So I think that's where he goes. Like, I'm not sure off the top of my head. Let me see, like, which sort of teams could it exactly be? Let's say, for example, Apex, right? If they felt he was an upgrade over anyone, but probably...
over Sense, for example. Okay, Apex is actually a decent shout for a team who could use a more seasoned in-game
either over Sense, or for him to be there, like, instead of, I don't know, Stico or Tsatanito, like, to be that secondary sort of a caller. But yeah, Monty, I don't know, like, it's a little bit tough, like maybe Gamer Legion, right? If they're looking to make some changes, who knows, right? Like some team like that where they could use the experience. The question is, like, how, especially in CS2, what's his individual level? But then again, C's just qualify for a major, so.
Yeah. I think, like, looking at the RMRs and some of the Counter-Strike, there was a question in the Discord just the other day about, like, what is the worst CS we've watched? Like, you
take your pick from the RMRs.
Yeah, you remember, like, the more recent stuff, right? Because that just is what's the mental residue hanging around. But I don't know, like, there's been some bad games of Counter-Strike over the years. There's no doubt about that. But there was some fucking abysmal Counter-Strike at the RMRs. I can't believe some of the games we were watching. We spoke about this on last episode, Jason, you and I.
Yeah.
It didn't actually get any better with Group B. Like, maybe a little bit better overall, but not noticeably.
I had forgotten going into the RMRs, since there's like so many teams competing, that you do have to like drop down to like the tiers of Counter-Strike that play a little bit sloppier and weaker Counter-Strike. Like I just had forgotten how many teams would be like that in the RMR, and when they faced off against each other, it was really painful. But I don't know, like on some level, I guess you kind of have to expect it from like the tier 2, low tier 2, tier 3 teams that kind of come in that we don't see a whole lot. Like they just don't get those consistent reps.
How do they beat Gamer Legion and Astralis, man? Like really?
30-year-old glowing. That's how.
30-year-old talent.
It doesn't compute.
Well, let's be real.
Cycle.
Let's be real. The fucking Astralis game, Astralis played like pussies.
All right, so we're getting into this now, Astralis.
Okay, YNK's fired up. I want everyone to know everything's going good in his life. He's happy. He's in a good place.
Up on the right side.
Yeah, this is YNK at his best.
I'm going on to a sunny place in 4 days. So Astralis was, when we were doing like episodes at the start of the year, I said, Astralis and Spirit for me are two teams that could surprise early, and they both did. Just one surprise was kind of negative in terms of Astralis. Spirit, obviously, super positive. And I think it goes to show there's one word like that describes everything when it comes to Astralis, or at least the most, and I think it's leadership, right? Like on the server, but also off the server too. I think you're spot on. Like they played like pussies most of the RMR, a lot of the games even before that. I think it's, to be a little bit more politically correct about it, I guess they played more not to lose than they played to win. Yeah. You could tell on the body language, everyone was super stressed all the time, and I think it was really telling. I posted it on my Instagram, the HLTV story of them losing, like, and you see it, and they're not even like sort of surprised it happened. Like obviously, you're losing on the map, and then you lose the map, but not about that match. It's just like, it didn't seem like they actually believed they could do it. That they could grind through the last chance qualifier, or
I know what you mean.
So there's no confidence there. And I think the big problem with that is, team building, not even Counter-Strike related, just outside of it. You have 4 top 20 players, 4 of the arguably best Danish players on that roster. You had the whole Stabby situation happen. There's a lot of like baggage there that you need to sort of attack and you know, empty the backpack, as they like to say, and sort of be clear about goals and plans, and, you know, create a healthy environment and a fun environment to play in. I was shocked. You know, you remember 6 months ago around Cologne, they show up with Buzz and Castle and all of that, and they've been together for a couple of months or whatever, and, you know, they're feeling great. Like, they're looking like a team, they're having fun, and they're playing some good Counter-Strike, and they're, you know, beat some good teams, and
they were yelling a lot. They had high energy.
Yeah, and they got into the playoffs, right? And there was none of that this time around. Zero. Like, it was just pressure, stress. It's like, you know, that stuff is always going to be there. I mean, everyone's playing for something, right? Whether it's the first major in Denmark or the first major in France, or whether it's just the fact that you fucking failed to qualify out of the RMR the last time around, not just for Astralis, but, you know, if you go back to the G2 debacle for Rio and all that sort of a thing, like, that stuff's always going to be around. That can't be your focus, right? Obviously, it's not something that you can pretend isn't there, Nafani, but, you know, it can't be something like you focus on so much. It's all about...
What about Zontix, Yanko? You play Nafani, I play Zontix.
And
You've activated my trap card.
Yeah, I think that was the problem for them. I can't believe that they spent so much money on Stone and Yabin, they couldn't sort out their fucking coach. Like, I don't think Ruggah was their primary option at all. If he was, they would have gotten him before the major cycle started, and he would have been their coach from the qualifiers, right? Like, so I don't know what was it, whether it was exist and they couldn't get it done. Some people turned them down, like Assad tweeted out, like to me when I tweeted about it, right? But that was a massive problem, because then you have some random guy who's like doing nothing that's there, and it doesn't even matter. It has to be someone who's going to, you know, in those key moments, sort of, especially most of that happens in practice, you know, making sure the environment is good within the team. We're not focusing on, we have to get to Copenhagen. Like, we're focusing on fucking playing good Counter-Strike and figuring this shit out with the switch up of the roles, and making sure that the guys who are taking the different roles and who are having to adjust, that they're still having fun, sort of, that you're not, like, you're telling them that it's fine about their performance. Doesn't matter if they drop off. It's going to take time to adjust. Hey, we're all in this together. Like, all that sort of a thing, right? To get that atmosphere that they had in some of the previous lineups, right? So I think that was the main issue that then, you know, leaked into everything else.
Dude, I think they got fucking their backs broken in the Katowice playing, losing to Heroic and then losing to Ents, like facing off against like the two demons after the Stown and Yavi situation, and then getting bodied by Glaive. I think that had to be so mentally backbreaking for them. And then you have to play them again in the RMRs, and I don't know, the leadership angle is there. I think more than anything, just individually, I think most of the players played like shit. I'll be honest with you. Like, I mean, you talked about like the guy who's changing positions. Like, Stair played the best out of all of them, and he's the one that even Device came out with and said, like, Stair had to sacrifice a bunch of his roles and spots on the maps and stepped up. Dude, watching that 9 Pandas game, I was like, Device was missing the easiest shots of his career, like just holding angles. People would walk into the crosshair and he'd overcompensate and flick. He's tweeting out during the RMR he's not having fun. That team felt like so mentally broken throughout the entire RMR campaign. Like, for
me, though, it goes back to what Yanko's saying, leadership. Like, I think that plays into you either needed to like, okay, so who insulate Heroic? It's not like Heroic weren't the enemies when Stown was there, right? He was part of Heroic when they were public enemy number 1, and everybody hated them. What happened? Casper insulated all of them from that. Casper just would build this fucking brotherhood that we'd always talk about with Heroic, right? And that was the whole thing with that team, that they would always be inward and they would fight outward, right? Against everybody and everything. It's them against the world. That's the way I kind of looked at that team.
Yep.
And Casper built this strong bond between all of them. And he had a unique set of people that he was able to do that with, who had bought in, which is why the whole Stown and Yabby situation of them, you know, jumping ship was such a surprise, because we never would have expected that to happen because of the type of team that they were built up to be. BlameF's not Cadian. BlameF's not really a leader. Like, BlameF shouldn't be the in-game leader of this team. I don't think he should be an in-game leader at all. I don't think Blame F should be leading. I think that if it was me and I was Astralis right now, I would go to Glaive and I'd offer him as much money as he wants to return. That's what I'd do. That's all I'd do.
And if you're not to an ENCE, you're charging as much money as you fucking want for it now.
Yeah, why not? Yeah. But that's what I would do. That's the best possible move that I could see for Astralis right now, because I think Stair, Device, Stown, and Yabby, and I also think Blame F is a good player. I just don't think he should be a leader. I think he's actually wasting his ability by being a leader. But I think that, you bring Glaive in, you can reignite the flame. He's someone who wears his heart on his sleeve. He is a leader. He is a leader of men, right? There's more than just being able to call strategy in the server. And some teams are able to fix that gap by having a coach who can become the people person, right? Some teams are able, who don't have the most strategic of in-game leaders, do that with the coach. But Glaive can do it all. And he's proved his worth again right now with ENCE. And you bring him into a team with, look, obviously the form not there with these players that you're talking about, Jason. But I also think there's one big thing that I remember when I was playing CS, and Yanko's bang on with the playing not to lose. When you're going and playing not to lose, you're not really setting the tempo or the tone of the game. You're not dictating where the fights are happening on the map. You're just going, all right, we're just going into our standard hold. You're just kind of going through the motions and the paces.
Yep.
Right? You're not doing anything that's creative. And they're not going in with confidence. And if you don't believe in your teammate next to you, then you're not going to be willing to do, make that play or swing wide for him. And it's just this effect, this domino effect that it festers and it affects every little element of the entire game and vibe of the team. And there was no vibe. They were dead. They were just going through the motions until they lost. That's what I saw. And I think that the team needs a shakeup.
And also there's doubt, like what you were saying in all that process. You're doubting yourself. You feel like this is a good move, but you go, I might be wrong. There might be a guy waiting there for me when you want to do an information push, let's say, and I don't want to be the reason why we lose this round. It's a reset round or whatever, and a lot of that thing happen nowadays. The teams are so good that if you end up playing like that and giving them space, and it's they're going to know how to take advantage of that. Or even sometimes you're doing things, you're trying to be proactive, but it's feels sort of forced, and then you're losing fights that you shouldn't. But I don't think it really mattered, the play-in situation. I mean, obviously, it sucks to not make the groups of Katowice, but if anything, it gave them more time to practice and sort their shit out. But I think it was just also, man, I mean, you guys were talking about as well on Twitter, but it's the fact you fucking put Stair out there for the losers interview.
That was so gross.
Fuck off, Blame F. Even Device, I mean...
one of the two.
One of the two. For fuck's sake. Just will you ever... that's what you're supposed to do. Obviously, it starts with the coach, but you can't... coaches can't do those. And then it's...
And they were asked. They were asked for Device or Blame F, and they said, absolutely not, there's no way.
Yeah, I mean, it's just fucking disgraceful that, Stair is the one who has to go out there. As you said, Jason, guy who played the best. He was the one who actually was doing...
Absolutely not. No way. Are you paraphrasing? Is that the actual sentiment?
Yeah. I don't know if there's the exact words, but it was no, you're not getting those two. It was just very clear, those two are not going to be doing the interview.
And that tells you how broken... That's not a team. If you're going to allow that to happen...
The in-game leader...
To Stair, that's not... a team. That's 5 dudes. As I think I tweeted out something that's 5 dudes just trying to, not fuck it up, just trying to do their job, right? And it doesn't work like that.
I don't give a fuck. People are going to be SPUNJ, fuck off. You haven't played Counter-Strike in 10 years. Fuck all y'all. I was an in-game leader. If I was in that situation, I'd be the first person to put my hand up and go to the fucking interview, no matter how emo I am. No, why would I send any of my teammates out? I'm the leader of the team. It's my responsibility. At the end of the day, no matter what happens, whatever call is made, whoever doesn't perform, doesn't do this, doesn't do that, whoever missed a fucking smoke, it's my responsibility. I am the leader of the team. I don't just call strategies. I am the leader of the team. How is that lost on anybody? That is a fucking joke, man. I didn't think I saw it and I went, well, that's bad form, but I didn't know who had been requested. I didn't know any of those things. So if the fact is that they were requested and they didn't go up, that is fucked, man. that begs belief. Like, we know that Blame F doesn't do the skits, right? Like, we had the fucking the one that came out recently, right? And they had Floppy do the whole CGI thing. They had to change that because Blame refused to do the fucking skit. Okay, fine. Like, he doesn't actually, he can't look at himself and go, yeah, I'm a beta. Maybe we'll make a joke about it. Like, we can't do that. That's fine. But to not even be able to fulfill your duty as the leader of the team, come on, bro.
Yeah,
that's your job.
It's bad.
Fuck.
And
that's upset me now.
When you put all of that together, all of a sudden, like, it's still surprising. You know, you'd still expect them to make it, but it's not as shocking anymore.
No, it's not as shocking.
You know,
no, it's not.
I don't know. It's still pretty shocking to me, to be honest with you. Even with all that being said, it's still pretty fucking shocking to me that they didn't make it. Or
but how could they have won if that's the situation?
I don't know. They still have very good players. Like, we've seen plenty of teams dysfunctional without any real leadership, without a good environment, and have success. We've seen it over the years plenty of times. It's still shocking to me that they went into the last chance qualifier and lost to 9 Pandas in the first game. Like, if they make it all the way towards...
that is crazy.
If they make it all the way to the end, maybe they run into Bad News Eagles, who we've seen catch some hot momentum in matches and cause some crazy upsets at majors over the years. That's maybe a little bit more understandable. But, like, showing up and just getting broken by 9 Pandas in the opening round of the last chance qualifier, that's still shocking to me, even with the questions of leadership, even with the questions of what the environment is within the team. Like, that's still crazy. That's still crazy to me.
I mean,
I don't understand how you lose to 9 Pandas. I cast some of their games. I have no idea how it's fucking possible.
I guess you're right, Jason, in that sense, but it's just so wild. You can tell, but I mean, you know, it's more about, like, they're lost in so many different departments. Like, their map pool is non-existent, like, in a sense of what is their best map, what are they going to pick. The people can punish them easily on Vertigo and so on. Like, it's crazy, like, how they're so poor on so many maps.
Like, I look at it like this, because remember, they played such a sick game against Spirit, like in their second game of the RMR, and they played so well, and they were proactive, and they were confident, and they were making plays, and they had a great game plan in it, and they lost 13-11. And I mean, on one hand, I'm like, if they win that game, I think it's a completely different trajectory, and we see a very strong Astralis throughout the rest of the RMRs, and they probably qualify, in my mind. And that's, you know, it's an if thing. But also, like, how does we get that Astralis, and then an Astralis that just looks like lost and defeated for essentially the rest of the RMR? Like, even beating Monty was a struggle.
To tell you, it goes to give you an idea of what the talks for the team look like after, or the meetings for the team look like after. And I think obviously not having a coach, right, hurts. They just had this Ronick guy with them, right, who's like the assistant coach or whatever. Either way, he's not like a figurehead. Like, he's not someone who's going to lift the mood. He's just a guy. Like, he's just there. Like, he's not a person that the team is going to look to, and he's able to be able to fix the attitude of the team or pull them together. But the thing is, they had the Casper guy there who was at Heroic, right? So he felt like he was one of the key members alongside of Heroic during when they were good. Like, he was part of. He felt like he was someone looking after the mood of the team. Obviously, Casper played a really big role. Cadian played a really big role in that. But I felt that he was a contributing factor as well. So I don't know, but it's not right. That's all I'm saying. It's not right.
No,
we shouldn't stand for this as proud Danes that the three of us are. You know, this is heartbreaking news going into the first Danish Counter-Strike major ever. How are we ever going to eat our fucking what Danish pastries?
Yeah, Danish pastries. Nasty little hot dogs.
Yeah, it's a massive collapse from Astralis, obviously, you know, Copenhagen Major and whatnot. I actually like Messioso's take where he said, you know, actually it doesn't matter where the fuck the major is if you don't make the playoffs. You're just playing from, like, your hotel and shit. Okay, Rio was different, but that was a one-off. You know, it's the same whether you're in Katowice, Cologne, Copenhagen, Shanghai, right? Like, if it's just the
hold up a second,
the comfort.
Nowhere has the red and yellow carpets like the Katowice. Yeah, so like, it's a little bit
like the Vienna Easy, but
it's a little bit.
But yeah, I mean, so you would really have to make a super deep run for that to matter in a sense, in a like a more visible way. But I don't know what they do. You know, like, the thing is like, do you make roster changes to Astralis now? Like you said,
I don't even know what the route forward is.
You just get Glaive for who though, Chad? For Blame?
Blame.
we've had this debate though. Chad and I talked about this. I don't know if it was during the episode. Maybe we just talked about it over bowling or some shit. But I don't know. I don't even know, because in my mind, I think I'd replace Down.
Do you think he's a choker?
Yeah, a little bit. And like, I don't know. He didn't. I trust Blame to have more impact, and I know he's got the whole Bader thing around him. But I think you bring an in-game leader in there. Glave's worked with him in the past.
Stop baiting.
No, I don't buy the whole baiting thing so much from Blame F. I don't think he's that much of a baiter. I think there's probably an element of like the eco hunting a little bit going on. I don't think I'd call it baiting. I think he has
use stats to show the eco hunting stuff.
I think more than anything, I think Blame F probably has some fucking trust issues in his teammate where he feels like he has to. I don't know, but this is what makes it so hard. I don't think there's necessarily like a strong indication of what the right way to go is. Like this is especially considering you just built what you would say what would look like 5 of like the top 7 or 8 players in Denmark at the moment.
Okay, so this is I'm using Skybox Edge. I don't have all the parameters. These are screenshots I took the other day. So it's probably like last 3 months or whatever, right? So I used one of the filters against full gun rounds.
Yeah.
So Blame F against full gun rounds, opening attempts, 17%, which is the lowest on his team. Blame F opening kill percentage, like attempts against full ecos. I used the filter of full ecos, 34%, the highest on his team.
Oh yeah, that's my fucking man. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can. Yep. Yeah.
But I mean,
the numbers.
Yeah, but I don't know what like long term what would actually be the best decision for him. I don't know.
Astralis.
Yeah, I think Blame F still. I mean, look, he's still an impactful player even in gun rounds. Maybe he doesn't take as many opening duels. He obviously gets really thirsty and aggressive when it's up against ecos. There's probably a bunch of players around the scene that you could probably take equal stats from that probably have a similar drop in percentage or rise in percentage against ecos or not ecos. But he's still a very good player. He's still a very smart player. He's still really good in the clutch. He still understands the game very well for gun rounds.
Well, nothing's going to happen. The team's going to stay exactly as it is. So I don't even know what we're talking about. It's one of these things. We all know nothing's going to happen. Surely.
Well, I guess the question is does Astralis feel like there's something critical within the team, or are they just like, let's get a coach in before we make that decision? But this is what makes it so interesting to me is I don't actually see a great route forward for Astralis after a devastating loss. Like you're taking a huge risk standing pat and saying Ruggah is going to help solve some of these problems.
Exactly. So what does Ruggah solve?
But you're also taking a huge risk if you make a roster change right now.
Who's an adult behind them?
Okay, that's one thing that's good, I guess. So when did Ruggah join OG? Let's find out. On the 29th of January 2020. He reunites with Volder. The team at the time was MBK, Alexi, Volder, Issa, Mantu, and Ruggah coaching. Did he replace anybody? I don't even know was he the first coach of the team?
I think he was,
He may have actually been. So the year now is 2024. That's been 4 years, right? It's been 4 years.
Yeah.
What has OG done in 4 years?
Put together a lot of mediocre lineups and done nothing really at all.
Finals of a couple of online tournaments during COVID.
I'll tell you this, though. To be fair to Ruggah, actually, I rescind my statement.
OG hasn't given him a lot to work with.
Yeah, that too. But Blame F's time at Astralis, he went to one major. That was with Glaive as an in-game leader. At least throughout OG's time, they've been to 2 majors. They went to Paris and they went to IEM Rio.
Where he couldn't attend, crazy. I think he had the ban for the coach bug as well. For Rio.
Oh. Well,
if I remember correctly.
All right. Well, cool.
Oh, but I think I get where you're coming from. And again, it's one of those situations where I think we talked a few times here and there. Like, seems like a nice dude. Like,
Who, Ruggah?
Yeah. Nice guy. Like, doesn't seem like he doesn't know CS either, right? But it's like, what warranted like this opportunity, in a way.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Right? But so it's one of 2 things. On one side is also one of the things is in OG, there was never like the level of players like he has on Astralis now, but that's also he's never had to really work with players, well, maybe outside of MBK, who, were big name players. right? Which is like a totally different dynamic than to working with, kids who are just
you're trying to build up to their potential.
Yes, exactly. So, like, and as we've seen, the biggest problem with this Astralis team is leadership, right? So does he have those qualities to help them with that and to get them to actually be a team? And also, I mean, we're talking about the coach about this a lot. This is also a good amount of this responsibility goes on the, performance coach, and they have that. They have the dude from Astralis. So I don't know where it got stuck. Why this process that usually they're very good at didn't pan out this time around, but I guess this is the opportunity of a lifetime for Ruggah, because if he can make this roster work, he's also, obviously Danish on a Danish team, right, on Astralis and all of that stuff. Like, he could put himself and the team on the map, right? But it's going to be really tough. You can't, to me, I don't see how you can replace Ton or Yabby after you paid like $1 gazillion for them to come in.
Yeah.
Stair, he's the only one doing his job, and also I think he's finally showed why they kept him over Buzz as well. Like the potential on this kid.
Sure.
He stays. Device, he obviously stays. So then it's only like, do you still keep blame as an in-game leader? Do you think like bringing back Glaive is actually like a better play? Maybe you don't even think Glaive is the better player, but you think he is a slightly better leader, and just the roster needs a shakeup after this big failure. I don't know. Like, those are some of the things that only the people on Astralis can answer, because they know the inner workings of the team and the dynamics and the different personalities and how they function with each other. So I don't know, man. Probably wouldn't change anything. Until
nothing's going to change anyway. It's all going to stay the same. This is a frivolous conversation, just like everything we do.
That's what we're supposed to do. That's the whole point of this. Frivolous.
Chad. Don't do it, Chad.
We're talking about all this stuff, and nothing's ever going to change. We say all these things, and everything stays the same. That is our life. And this is our life for the rest of our life. We're going to sit here and we're going to have the same conversations about the same things over and over and over and over and over again until I'm old and I'm gray and I regret all the decisions of my life. That's what's going to happen, guys. That's going to be our legacy.
I'd like everyone to know
how this is going to go.
Chad's also in a happy place. He's also doing.
I never said that. At no point did I say I was in a good mood.
No point did I give that qualifier out to the world.
I'm in a mood. That's for sure.
I'm in a place.
Not a good one.
All right.
Fucking having a midlife crisis at the age of 34, Jason. How you think I'm going, man? Every day. An existential crisis.
That's the time.
Midlife crises are fun, man. Yeah, that's a good time.
I'm not having fun. I was talking to you about it in fucking Romania, and you were like, yeah, but at least you get to play Counter-Strike every day with your mates. And I was like, well, yeah. So what? Do I just do that forever? Do I just play Counter-Strike every day?
We went bowling.
Justin and Aaron?
We went bowling and had a beer in the middle of the day, too, at the RMR. So, I mean...
I didn't have a beer. Well, don't fucking lump me in with you fucking degenerates, mate.
Yeah, that's fair.
I haven't had any alcohol since a glass of champagne at the award show.
Good for you.
Thanks.
Yeah. You could maybe use some. Just
yeah, I might be able to take the edge.
You need that's what you need, Chad. You need a vice. You need a vice.
No. I recently ditched my most recent vice, Yanka. We're trying to fix my life. We're trying to get back. But I don't know. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just treading water, right? I'm just sitting there. I'm just floating. I'm just bobbing around in the Indian Ocean. My head just bobbing up and down as I tread water. I'm doing survival stroke. I'm just hanging out, waiting for the sharks to come and eat me.
Did you guys see Liquid lost to Nouns last night in round 1 of the IEM Dallas closed qualifier? 2-1.
Yeah, it's great.
Another tough loss.
I don't have to reuse. Like, I can just retweet the thing I tweeted the other day, which is great. I could and probably when they lose tonight as well to Boss or to Nouns again, I can just retweet it again because it's just still recent content. So I'll just keep retweeting the same thing. Why do they suck online?
They're not going to lose to Boss.
How do you know that? Have you been to the future?
I'm pretty confident they won't lose to Boss.
I was pretty confident they'd be a good team, Jason, but we've all been
I am
fooled.
too. I think there's I know we have been all full. I think they'll I'm waiting to give like a final judgment on this until I see him at the RMR on LAN, which is giving a lot of credit over to the players, which I think for the most part for guys like Naftwist and Cadian, they kind of deserve that little bit benefit of the doubt. I think they've built that over their career. But I tried to watch a little bit of it this morning while I was a little bit busy with everything, so I didn't get a close look, but it still looks like Cadian, I think, is having to be really hands-on, and I think that's really impacting his performance at the moment.
He's grabbing the bull by the horns.
Yeah, I think they still haven't really found a way to get everyone on the same page, which is unfortunate. But I still have a little bit of faith, as I always do, that they'll be able to manage it. But again, I'm waiting for the RMR to make any hard judgments on this team.
Yeah, me too. It's just online CS, but it's still worrying signs.
Very worrying
it's a team
signs.
that I thought would be like a top 8 team at the major coming up, and now I'm just wondering if they'll even get there.
Yeah,
well, of course they'll get there. Of course they'll get there.
I mean,
right,
when you combine that to like the loss to M80, like losing a map to Party Astronauts, it's like that is a little bit of an indictment of where the ceiling exactly is for the team. But again, online Counter-Strike, RMR is where it's at.
They were probably like in Europe at some point during February, right? Like playing from Europe, I would imagine.
They did have one European boot camp. I don't know how long it was. It was before the Blasts, yeah.
I mean, I would be surprised. I mean, if they didn't come over for at least 10 days or something during February, I think that would have been a mistake because they missed out on
I think they did.
Yeah, I would.
They did. They did at least one trip.
I'd hope so. But regardless, obviously they have to come back to play these qualifiers. The Dallas qualifiers where they lost to Nouns.
They didn't qualify for Shanghai.
Oh yeah, that's true. They lost to M80, right? But listen,
that's the biggest indictment.
I know, but I think it's also it's a completely new roster with 5 individual players being brought together in a okay, Kinder and Naf were on the roster, but and you only had those games on LAN at Blast where it looked okay, and then you ended up losing to FaZe and G2 and didn't make the spring finals then and there. So you go back, you have to practice a little bit in NA and play some games from there online. I think they got the important shit done, right? Like they made the RMR. Obviously, that was the most important thing. And the one problem was the fact that they didn't qualify for Shanghai, that they lost to M80 there. But that best of 1 loss where they got stomped by M80, I don't really care about that. I don't really care too much about this Nouns game here. I haven't watched it at all, but I have seen the fail to defuse on Reddit, right? Which was at 11-10?
Yeah.
Or something, which could have maybe turned the game around, allowed Liquid to win it. Then they would have been 2-0 up, right? And sure, again, on Mirage, 3rd map, they lose 13-3. Not a good sign. But I think for this Liquid lineup, I think it's... I don't think I wouldn't sound the alarm bells just yet. For example, I mean, they could still qualify for Dallas. They're not out of the tournament. They beat Wildcard, and they did drop a map to Wildcard too. But I don't know. I feel like it's going to be a rematch for them.
Yeah, they win it. It should be. They beat Boss, and then they go back to the grand final, and they win 1 series, and they're in.
They make good on their promise.
They have to play 2 best-of-3s in a row. Today, which might be a good
Does Greyhound make it, guys? Does Greyhound do it?
No.
Ooh.
They got
smashed,
Mongols.
didn't they? Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Bro, Mongols were in the boot camp and they were just playing non-stop, dude. Practice, and then they were playing Mzinho and Senzu are top are 3 and 4 in FPL for February, and they were here for 20. Well, they were in Kato as well, so. Yeah.
But that's great. That's great that and that's the thing. They're coming off of hot form, whereas Greyhound have only played in Oz. And that's the first map they've lost since Dexter's joined, I think. But Greyhound have only played in Australia. So
it's a wake-up call.
Yeah, and the Mongols were in Europe for almost a month because they had Kato first. And they also, before that, they played LAN in China. They played a bunch of online games, 2 qualifiers and all that shit. So, I don't know, they have a ton of officials already, too.
Yeah, they're grinding. But so the thing is, Greyhound's in the lower bracket now, right? So they play tomorrow at midday.
They'll beat Twisted Minds or GG How.
It's going to be them and Tai Lu. Well, the problem is like, I don't think
They have to play 2 games on Wednesday.
Yeah, I don't think like. Also, fucking Lin Vision has been, Yeah,
they're solid too.
Lin Vision's good, man.
Yeah, they're really solid.
Starry, we love them. From that Pro League stint they had. This is the thing. This is why I'm asking if they're going to make it, because I think Greyhound will get past Tai Lu, right? And they probably play Gigi Hao, I imagine. So that's the team with like Issa, Ellie, and Davkos in there. So they probably play them, and they should beat them. Like if they don't beat them, we got fucking bigger problems. So then it'll be Greyhound versus Tai Lu. They should beat Tai Lu. Tai Lu look kind of average at the moment. I don't know where Mosey has gone. I don't know if someone from China could let us know what happened there. Mosey is out and Orman's in. I think it's been that way for a little while. Then they beat Tai Lu, sure, but then they have to take on Mongols or Lin Vision. If it's Lin Vision, I reckon I'm going to go 45-55 in favor of Lin Vision. But if it's Mongols, it's like fucking 75-25 in favor of Mongols.
Yeah, I think Mongols is really good. How many teams go through Asia? 2?
2. Yeah. So they can make it, but they need to beat Tai Lu and Lin Vision. And Gigi Hao.
The problem is I have no idea like how much better they are with Dexter now. They should be absolutely better, and some of the stuff that we saw as problems.
It's hard to be informed, man.
That's the problem.
Exactly. Like when you're playing that's hard to be informed.
So that's why I don't have faith.
I know it all too well. Yeah. Look, at the start of the year on HLTV, we did like these predictions of teams that like wouldn't make the major, for example. And I did 2 kind of like outsider type ones. I was servicing not just Europe for that conversation. And I said NRG, who fucking fluked a spot at the RMR because fucking Rocket were cheating or some shit. And then so they now
cheating in 2 ways.
Yeah, right. Fuck me. So now they get a shot, right? They get a crack at it. They have an opportunity to make it, which in the top 5. But NRG still look fucking average as fuck. Yeah. Maybe it clicks on land, but who knows? And the other one that I said was Greyhound that wouldn't make it. And the reason I said that is because the field is strong. Like Mongols, I think, is without a doubt the best team in the region. Like without a doubt, it's not even a conversation. And then I think that Lin Vision pack a good punch. They play like an interesting style, and they have some really flary individuals who are great aimers and multi-killers. And at the end of the day there, like, sure, Dexter brings across his understanding of European meta from his time here and all of his learnings, but he's got to be able to teach that to the whole team, and then they're not in form. So I think my qualm for them is pressure and maybe being too rigid, right? That's 2 of the things that I think are going to cost Greyhound at the end of the day. Maybe they pull it together, and I don't want to feel like I'm just hating on it for no reason. Like I obviously want Australian teams to do well, but I'm just trying to be realistic. Just trying to be realistic with how I'm looking at the field. Tai Lu's not going to be an easy beat, right? Maybe they do walk all over them, but it's still a team who can put up resistance. It's not just a guaranteed win. So I think this is going to be tough for Greyhound. And then I don't know where they go from there. I don't know what they do. Like, I think Inz is a very good player. I think Vexite had or has potential, but hasn't lived up to it. And you can't keep saying that for too much longer. And then I don't know. I guess we need to see more from Dexter in the server with the team, because it's if they don't make the major, because now they're not in an org anymore, right? Greyhound is the owner of Greyhounds. His last name is Greyhound. His name is William Greyhound, right? It's
creative, man.
Yeah, well, but that's the thing. Like, that's telling everybody this is an organization. This is, well, maybe I guess he counts as an org, but it's more like a business that's
more like
Will has set up. Yeah, and he goes around with the team. He's the manager of the team. He goes around with the team all over the world. Like, he's there with them. He's having all these conversations. And if they don't get the sticker money, it becomes much harder for him to be able to justify paying these guys salaries, I imagine, right? I'm speaking a little bit out of pocket here. I don't know exactly the case, but I would imagine that the sticker money helps him fund paying for the players, unless they get 100% of the sticker money, which would be insane. I don't think that's the case. So it could be a bit of a catastrophe for Greyhound, dogs, catastrophe, cats, woof woof. Didn't mean to do that one, did I? You like that? Okay.
Yeah.
No one's laughing. Great. It's as good as Jason's fucking whale joke.
hey, that whale joke always fucking lands when I remember how to do it.
It's a great joke.
We missed, there's one big piece of news that we haven't touched on yet.
Oh, no.
Sasha to Falcons.
Simple's back.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Simple's back.
Yeah. What do you think about that? Like, because it's obviously only temporary, right?
Yeah. What, on loan for a month essentially for the showdown? Yeah, for the showdown.
Yeah. Well, it's no surprise Boros being gone. I think a lot of people at home were like, but he's the highest rated fucking player for the team, man. Like, Boros has got some good stats, man. Like, of course he's not going anywhere, man. And then he got replaced immediately. But look, having Simple join the server again is exciting, but what it leads to, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of neg heads out there around it at the moment. Like, his stats in Faceit aren't very good. Obviously, it's different from Team Counter-Strike. There's a whole input lag meme that's going around at the moment with Simple, thinking there's like he's saying there's something long. I don't know exactly. I'm probably completely wrong,
electronic input lag or something. Like, there's not enough like juice going to the PC.
People are joking about like him having irons plugged in and stuff. So I don't know. It's all pretty funny, but like Simple rifling, that's going to be the case on the Falcons roster because Sampaius is still there. So it would be a great double AWP setup, right? That'd be cool to be able to see if you can ever get the finances for it in MR12. But all in all, I'm like, okay, cool. The Simple will be back in the server, but that's where the conversation ends for me. Like, I don't know what this means for the long term of Simple. I've got no idea. I guess he's going to wait for roster mania as well, like most top players will, until the major ends and see what's available.
Sure, yeah.
So this is him just getting in form, I guess.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that his mental is sorted out. You know, that he's ready to come back and play, not for Falcons for this loan, but come back and play, you know, properly. Because that was the issue, sort of, with him, that, you know, so that's why we liked it when he said he was taking a break and everything. So that's what I want to see. But let's say that's the case. It might be really interesting if he comes in, rifles, and does it really well. I mean, it opens up so many opportunities. He could just fucking stay in Falcons.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be feels like it wouldn't be the craziest thing if he did good and just stuck around there.
Yeah, imagine that. Fucking Magisk, Simple, Sampaius, Snappy, Madden.
The fans are already livid. You guys are going to make him even madder right now.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, because, you know, even with the op change a little bit, whatever, like how much the Simple like it will make for one pretty sick double op setup.
For sure. Yeah. I think like the flexibility of having somebody like Simple who doesn't need to do it all the time and can bring it out whenever he wants to. I think that's one of the greatest things about being an X Factor player like that. You know, and especially with the pedigree behind it. But that's the thing. Like, I'm curious to see what positions, because there were positions that they didn't give Boros that we would have assumed if Nico was there, Nico would have gotten them, right? Like overpass, CT side, bathrooms. Well, that's not where Boros was playing. That's where Magisk was playing. Boros was anchoring B. Exactly, right? So does Simple get all of these like high yield positions? Do they actually treat him like a star rifler as opposed to how they treated Boros, right? Like, so I'm curious to see what the complexion of the team is as well when we get to see that. It's only online Counter-Strike, and that showdown's going to be pretty brutal, man. Single elimination, best of threes, starts in 9 days' time. I don't think... No, the bracket's not drawn yet, but the teams who are there, Spirit, Falcons, Cloud9, Monty without SDY, okay, that's just taking a hit. Complexity, Heroic, Gamer Legion, Big... Wait, they've done one big one now, have they? Oh, okay, that's cool. As opposed to regional, that means 2 teams make it. Ah,
that's weird.
Is that the case? Is that
okay?
Is that
they've changed that? So that means Liquid's going to have to go. Liquid's going to have to travel to Europe for the showdown.
Yeah. So
I mean, they'll probably be there anywhere boot camping for the major. So maybe it's not the worst thing in the world
if they qualify.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if they qualify.
So this is Liquid's thing actually is kind of wild looking at this right now. So they're going to play today to try and qualify for Dallas, and then in 2 days' time they're going to fly to
Mexico. Yep.
Then they're going to play there that goes up into the 4th. So the quickest they could get it done is within 2 days, right? Because they're the best of 1s, then the best of 3. So let's say they're there for 3 days. If they're there the whole time up until the very end, they're there for 5 days. Then they're going to fly to what I would assume is Denmark, right, to be able to compete in the showdown from Blast's HQ.
No, so I would imagine they'd go to Liquid facility in Amsterdam.
Oh yeah, that's right. Of course, it's online.
Utrecht. Yeah, it's online.
Yeah. Oh, you're bang on. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So and then I think they're just there boot camping until the major.
Okay, that kind of works out nicely for them in terms of the run of events.
Well, the Mexico to Utrecht trip is going to fucking wreck them. They're going to have that first day of the showdown is going to be fucking rough, I would imagine.
True.
Yeah.
Because because it's 9 days until that starts.
Trip. Yep.
Mexico to Amsterdam, 12 hours and 25 minutes.
Yeah.
One stop.
One stop.
Stop somewhere. Poor guys. That's a bit rough.
Well, I think I also heard from one of the teams that for the NA RMR, the PGL is like it's only flying people like back to where your base is, kind of, right? Like, so if it's...
So they have to go back to the States and then go from there.
Yeah, so they're not like, you have to fly, Brazilian teams have to go to Mexico, then fly back to Brazil, and then from Brazil go to Europe. Like, they can't go from Mexico to Europe. Like, PGL is not like booking those flights like that.
I wonder how it works with the showdown, and because like normally like TOs fly teams out to the events, but if it's online, I wonder if Blast would pay. But that puts a weird.
That's the thing.
That puts a weird strain on
America, Jason.
Yeah, that puts a weird strain on American teams if any of them are ever in the showdown. If they're doing one group like this.
Exactly. So that you feel like they'd have to pay.
Yeah, you'd think so, because then it wouldn't be an issue.
One of these things. And we know what it's like from our end as well. It does get like a little bit murky, like when you're going from event to event. I remember back in the day, there was this short period of time where TOs talked to each other and like shouldered half the cost of like a flight to and from a place. But that don't happen anymore. Like now, I personally just go out of my way to make it as easy as possible for whatever TO. Like for example, I think I had ESL fly me from Kato to Bucharest, and then I had PGL fly me from Bucharest to home.
Yeah, I had ESL fly me from home to Katowice, and then PGL paid Bucharest back to home. They each took like a one way.
So you didn't have to return to the same location, Jason?
I couldn't with PGL because I was flying straight from Katowice. So I just had them buy me a one way from Krakow to Bucharest, and then Bucharest to Grand Rapids. I just said straight up,
how it is.
I can't do it.
Bit of special treatment over here.
They were pretty understanding. They were pretty understanding.
Wow, the players don't get that, but Jason Moses O'Toole. Well,
that's how that's how it works, baby.
Wow, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
You know.
Yeah, fucking hell. Oh,
is anyone going to hop on the train with me and think that Simple's return is going to be underwhelming in Falcons?
Oh yeah, you hear this last week's episode?
Oh yeah, he did.
He had a comment in the fucking Discord.
Because you kind of phrased it in a shitty way.
I didn't. Yeah, I was a little tired. It was a long day, but I don't think he's actually going to suck. But I think it's going to be so underwhelming.
Well, what do you think? He's going to come in and play like Donk?
No, I think he's going to come in, and I don't think he's going to be as. I think the expectations around Simple's return are going to be so high because he's the best player of all time, and I don't think he's going to get close to matching that level. And I think it's going to be. I think it's unreasonable to expect him to, but I think in general the public and fans are generally an unreasonable group when it comes to those kinds of things. And I think his performance is going to be nowhere to near anyone is expecting or excited for.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I'm just excited to see him playing again. I don't really have any expectations of how he's going to play. And I don't think that this team is going to be a good representation of how good he could play. So I don't know. That's why before when I was making the comments about this whole move, it's like, okay, well, he's getting back in the server and getting back in form. That's all I see this as. I just see this as like a thing for him to gear up and make sure that people know, hey, look, I'm playing and I'm ready to join a team after this major ends. Like, I'm back. Because we know he made the comment right in Katowice that he was going to return after the majors. That's all this is to me. Like, I don't have any expectation of GOAT Simple.
Okay, you have no expectations for this Falcon stand-in. It's all.
I have no expectations in life right now, man. Like, I'm fucking apathetic to it all.
All right. Cool.
By the way, I think for the showdown, I know there's a team coming to boot camp at our place, and then they're going to relog to play the showdown from there. So I don't know if because what would make sense for Blast would be to put all the teams there. Like, they have the room to fit at least all the teams that need to travel from somewhere else there. So yeah, I just now saw that there's 16 teams. I thought some wild idea they could like get them all there and just play on LAN or something, but probably not.
No, probably not.
No. Probably not.
But yeah, I don't know about Sim. I mean, it's just I don't want to like read into it too much either. It's just a fucking showdown. He's playing as a stand-in. Like, we don't know who they're going to be playing, right? Like, the bracket isn't out yet.
Yeah.
You know, but I think I just have a hard time seeing Simple suck, right? Like, that's the problem. I think he is going to play well individually. How he's going to look on that team, how the team is going to look, you know, I don't know. But I think he's going to be fine, right? Like, I think this, as a return for Simple, is just underwhelming as it is, right? That he's standing in for Falcons, right? Would have been better to see him on a full team or something like that. So
I don't know.
Right. Well, if the comeback was like, if it was like, oh, he's joining a team full time, and it was like a heavy hitting team, right? Maybe then I would be more in your camp, Jason. But I guess my expectation is tempered. But his legacy precedes him, right? So people are going to have the expectation that he's just going to come in and be,
absolutely,
you know, mauling everybody. But that wasn't even really the case towards the end of the Na'Vi days, was it? Like, I'm not sure what his stats are, but it wasn't like we had Goat Simple playing as Na'Vi went international. Things were pretty rough around the edges, I thought, for the entire team. Like I said, I'm not sure what the stats are. Maybe I'm well off, but he's been on the bench since November, right? Late October, early November type thing. So it hasn't even been that long, realistically.
That's my other side of this too. Is like, this isn't much of a break. I feel, you know, like this wasn't a long time to chill and reset and get your shit straight.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what length of time I would have expected. Yeah, I mean, probably. I mean, pretty much we've heard that from plenty of pro players who have like retired and come back because they're just like, what am I doing? I don't actually know what I'm supposed to be doing anymore.
Maybe he's having a midlife crisis.
Maybe.
Yeah, there's an infestation.
There's
an infestation.
Yeah. We can start a club, man. Me and Simple. You want to join? No, Jason's got his life together. Yanka, your life's kind of together too. You're a fucking adult. You'd be both adults. Who else could join my midlife crisis club? Maybe Henry. Justin, if he doesn't get a team.
Henry's there with you.
Yeah.
Give Henry a spot.
Henry's there with me. Yeah. This is the problem I have
once
as well.
He takes over as coach of Astralis.
This is him buying like a Ferrari or something, a convertible Ferrari or something. He's driving around with the windows down. Astralis is his midlife crisis. It's his chance. That's how he can turn this whole coaching thing around from North to OG to Astralis. It's going to be fucking huge. But I don't know. Like I'm looking at all these free agents and stuff, and I don't even want to start speculating on where they're going to go. Like
it's so much matters about the major too.
Yeah. And it's only like, if you take a look, the opening stage of the major starts in 20 days.
20 days.
That's really soon.
I need to figure out what I'm going to do. Stream or something.
Come on over, Yanko. Come do some podcasts from Jason's room. You can sleep in his bed.
Yeah.
It'd be great.
Maybe I can fly out for a podcast or two or something. We'll figure it out.
We'll get you a room.
I can book my own room, Jason. Thank you.
Should we? Well, Jason said something to me while we were in Romania regarding something we could do for our Discord. I don't know if we want to talk about it. Maybe we should talk about it off air. We don't know.
Let's talk about it off air because there's I'm gonna try and get something going, but I haven't gotten the response quite yet.
So you did email?
I did respond. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Nice.
I'll try and make something happen.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, we'll leave that one. Hopefully, it's something that the people in our Discord can partake in. I'm just scrolling through the Discord right now to see if there's anything of interest. People are asking so many questions all the time. It's great. Sometimes I'm answering, sometimes I'm not.
Yeah, I think it's cool. It's like there's not too many of them, so you can always go back like the next day when you have more. Sometimes I'm not at the PC that much for like a day or two. Then I get back and like reply to a couple of questions in a row.
I'm not gonna lie. By the last week in Romania, I was so fucking fried. I was like absent. I was just like I couldn't do anything. I was
on AFK.
Yeah, I was. Yeah,
there's like
didn't do. Yeah.
Yeah, there were a couple of MR12 questions. Do you like it from a talent perspective? From a talent perspective, we fucking love it.
Oh, it's fucking amazing from a
shorter
talent perspective.
Days, shorter games, right? Like from that.
Oh my god.
From purely that perspective, yeah. But I feel good about it, man. I think it's MR12 is fine.
I think economy is the only conversation.
Yeah, that's the only thing that you can talk about is that whether there should be a 1,400 loss bonus at all.
A little tweak to the economy might help.
But this is the thing. If Valve get enough data and they're not happy with how the game's trending, then they will look to change something. I think the other one that people have as a sticking point right now, and something that we probably agree with, is the whole best of 3 situation versus best of 1 situation. But that's also something that, unless the players are able to shake the tree that is Valve, that will never change. So that's another thing that I just feel talking about that we've spoken about 100 fucking million times, like smashing my head against a brick wall. But yeah, other than that, it's always just the same talking points, isn't it? There's I'm just looking if there's anything new and exciting going on. The new update, people have positive things to say about the new update. I know it's been out for a while now, but it takes a while for us to get that data.
We've still been calling it the new economy for like 3, 4, 5 years or something.
Pretty sure it was 2018, wasn't it?
Yeah, we've been going nuts on the new economy.
2018. What new economy are you talking? Are you talking about when they made the change with the pendulum as opposed to the hard reset?
The blue shell bonus.
Yeah, that was really annoying in the beginning. I guess it's kind of leveled out now that people have a better grasp of the type of rounds and everything that they can play, which is nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, do you want to wind it up? We've been going for an hour and a half. It's a pretty good time.
I think we're going.
We got anything else we want to talk about?
Is there anything like to just round out the RMRs like for Europe? Not, I mean, more or less it's all there. Like we touched on it.
Like Falcons and Astralis are the big ones.
Ecstatic making it with also Amcal, 9 Pandas. I guess those are the big.
I don't want to talk about Amcal.
No.
Jason says he hates the entropic core.
They got me started on the wrong foot at this RMR. That game versus NIP.
Oh, with the NIP.
Yeah, it really tilted me off the face. Especially because Henry fucking messaged me at like the beginning of the first overtime. Like he was in the other stream, and Dinko and I were casting this like our first map. 3 overtimes between NIP and Amcal, some of the worst Counter-Strike I've ever casted. And Henry and Anders casted 2 13-1 games in the space of that. They were starting their 3rd of 4 games. All while we were on our first map. And Henry just like messaged me to laugh about it, like during like the overtime. And I was just like, I know it fucking. I'm not gonna lie, it did tilt me off the face of the earth. But they got me started on the wrong foot. So I'm good with it. Congratulations, you made the major. Have a good time with it. That's all I got.
It was a really rough game. Like it felt like both teams didn't want to win.
I was laughing because I was sat there during second overtime and I was like, this might go on forever. Like both these teams don't know what none of them are doing anything.
Hell at that point.
I was just like, this could actually just go to like 7 overtimes because none of them on the T side are actually doing anything on the map. It's just there. Yeah. It's just here. And then when the game finally finished, I opened up Twitter and like Flush had tweeted like, this is some of the worst Counter-Strike I've ever seen. And I was like, all right, thank fucking God I'm not going crazy. Thank God I'm just vindicated. Yeah, I was like, thank God I'm not just like jaded and bitter and angry. I think Chad, you even tweeted like, don't take any lessons from this game or something like that. And I was just like, okay.
Show your kids.
I was like,
show your fucking kids that game. Yeah, it was a rough match of Counter-Strike. And people seem to be attesting a bit of it to the pressure.
I hate that so much, bro. Fuck off already. Like everyone's so what? Like everyone has some sort of pressure. Like you will have like something going on. Like we're not gonna still be talking about this. Like after it's been a topic for years and years now that people have kind of realized it and it became a topic. Like you just need. It's just one of those things. Another things that we add when we evaluate a team, right? And when we rate them, like it's map pool, it's individuals, firepower, it's dealing with pressure, like your mental game, right? Like it falls under your mental game, really. Where's the pressure for Spirit? They don't have any pressure, but they're just, if they lose, it's okay.
Well, Zontic says they don't have any pressure. They don't even know that they're on the stage.
He did hit that note pretty hard in Katowice as well.
Yeah, no, but this is obviously the qualification for the major, right? So it's more being framed in the sense of like players, I don't know how many smokes you should be missing, but there was quite a lot of that going on. I just put all the stats together for the LCQ Group A and Group B. How many times do you think over the course of the 3 groups, I guess, Inferno was played?
2, 3? I didn't see it much.
Over both RMRs and the LCQ?
Both RMRs
and the LCQ.
7 times.
9. It was played 9 times. The
That's
next
well.
was Mirage, only played 13 times. Vertigo 15 times. Anubis 15 times. Overpass 20.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
Nuke 20 and Ancient 23.
They fucking ruined Inferno. They need to make it, like you said.
I'm surprised Mirage
they
is
need
so
to
low.
make it larger.
Yeah, they did kind of ruin Inferno. The fact it's also the most T-sided map from all of those events at 60.7%. The next most T-sided was Anubis, which makes sense.
Inferno is the most T-sided?
Yeah.
I'm assuming
Anubis
that's
was
because of
second most.
I'm assuming that's because of how many saves come out on the map that CTs just don't really go for rounds. I would attribute that to.
Yeah. And then the other T-sided map for the events were Ancient was T-sided just like 50.8, so it was basically just 50%. And then 54.8% for Mirage T-sides. Nuke was CT-sided. Overpass was the most CT-sided. Vertigo as well. So that's just some fun little map stats. We love.
There goes my fucking dream of Overpass leaving the map pool.
Yeah.
I don't know. Fuck it. Just fuck off with the best of ones. That's the problem. Like, just get rid of them. We have good seeding. We can do a different format where it's all best of 3s. We don't need fucking triple elimination, guys. Just, they don't need 3 chances. They don't need to have to lose 3 times to be eliminated. Just lose 2 times and you're out. That's
4 times
enough.
for some teams.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, 4 times for some teams.
4 times.
Yeah.
4 was pretty good.
It's fucking like...
I still hate that.
silly
That's still
because
a pet peeve of mine.
now it's become the norm because we've been using it for so long. There's like viewers who only ever watched Swiss system at the majors.
Yeah, we've been using it for a while.
It's crazy.
What was the first one we did? Was it Katowice? Was Katowice the first Swiss 2019?
It was before that,
Or was
wasn't
it?
it?
No, it was in London as well.
It was
at
before
Face It.
that. Yeah,
So
and
Face
it was at the E-League ones too.
Yeah, it was.
It was at the E-League
Yeah,
ones,
yeah,
wasn't
it
it?
was in Boston
Oh my
too.
We've been using it for a
God.
while.
So since 2018.
It's horrendous.
6 years.
I think 2016 or 2017 is when it
Just
first
do
came.
the formats that fucking ESL uses for Cologne and Cato. Like, because it's not GSL 4-team groups, it's 8-team groups. So like even the teams get, it gets mixed. Like if you lose, you can play a team from the other group, like in the lower bracket or something like that. If that's what's bothering people, that you could play the same team twice, or whatever, I don't care. Just like, we can't be having best of ones anymore, because I do think like that becomes a little bit crazy then, and you play 2 best of ones on day 1, and I don't know.
And with
I'm not gonna talk
MR12,
about
like
the
the
format. Fuck off.
with MR12, the time that it takes to finish a match is so much lower, especially if it's like a 13-6 or 13-7 or even like a 13-1. It's like, some of those games at the RMR were done in like 25 minutes. It's like you no longer need to do, like, I understood the argument for BO1s when it was like a scheduling situation, but we don't really have that issue anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we have any positive messages we can leave our listeners with? Anyone got anything that because I feel you guys started the conversation positive, and I feel I've broken you down and brought you to my level. So do you have anything that you'd like to say to put a smile on anyone's face?
Liquid's going to beat Boss tonight.
Wow. Could have tried. I felt it was more on a human level, Jason, but
Oh, human
that's
level?
good too.
Just
He's helping some humans, some
just
Americans.
keep it to NACS.
Human level.
Human level, Jason.
I'm not so good at the human level thing.
Fuck.
I
All
got
right, guys.
nothing.
Well,
Yeah, we're out. We're done. I'm on empty.
Yanko, you got anything?
I can just say to anyone who is struggling at whatever, this too
we
shall
go.
pass.
Ah, that was Tom Hanks, wasn't it? Wasn't he doing one of those round tables with a bunch of other actors?
Exactly.
And that was
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Well,
How'd that make you feel, Chad? Did that help you out? This too
Not
shall
at all.
pass? Okay.
Nah, let's get out of here.
All right.
Peace.